Welcome back. Welcome back. You may Dominic in here, of course, the DominiCShow.com, onfire-tv.com, WRF Radio, of course, radioonfire.com. Let's get into the show. It's a lot of things to get into.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world.
You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K. Sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are, and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I
OnFireTV.com.
Okay. The president talked about his landmark. Yeah, he had a landmark, milestone today. Signed the Democrats' climate change and health bill into law. So this is delivering what he has called the final piece of his pared down domestic agenda. He's trying to boost the Democratic Party's standing with voters just, a little bit less than 3 months before the midterms. Now, this legislation includes the most substantial federal investment in history to fight climate change, some $375 billion over 10 years. And also this is something that they're very excited about, capping prescription drug costs at $2,000 of out-of-pocket annual payment for Medicare recipients. Also, it would help an estimated 13 million Americans pay for healthcare insurance by extending subsidies provided by the COVID-19 pandemic. So got a lot of things in there, a lot of things that he was trying to get done. Not everything, obviously, but some things. So some people are excited about this. Some people are not. But let's listen to what the president has to say.
Well, they couldn't be here. I especially want to thank Nancy Pelosi, who was instrumental in this law, and Vice President Harris for an incredible work she did. And I'm about to sign the Inflation Reduction Act into law, one of the most significant laws in our history. Let me say from the start, with this law, the American people won and the special interests lost. The American people won and the special interests lost. We're in a session of, for a while, people doubted whether any of that was going to happen. But we are in a season of substance. This administration began amid a dark time in America. As Jim said, a once-in-a-century pandemic, devastating joblessness, clear and present threats to democracy and the rule of law, doubts about America's future itself. And yet, we've not wavered, we've not flinched, and we've not given in. Instead, we're delivering results for the American people. We didn't tear down, we built up, we didn't look back, we looked forward, and today offers further proof that the soul of America is vibrant, the future of America is bright, and the promise of America is real and just beginning. Look, the bill I'm about to sign is not just about today, it's about tomorrow. It's about delivering progress and prosperity to American families. It's about showing the American and the American people that democracy still works in America, notwithstanding all the talk of its demise. Not just for the privileged few, but for all of us. I swore an oath of office to you and to God to faithfully execute the duties of this sacred office. To me, the critical duty of the president is to defend what is best about America. And that's not hyperbole. Defend what's best about America, to pursue justice, to ensure fairness, to deliver results that create possibilities that all of us can live a life of consequence and prosperity in a nation that's safe and secure. That's the job. Fulfilling that pledge to you guides me every single hour, every single day in this job. You know, presidents should be judged not only by our words, but by our deeds. Not by our rhetoric, but by our actions. Not by our promise, but by reality. And today is part of an extraordinary story that's being written by this administration and our brave allies in the Congress. This law that I'm about to sign, finally delivers on a promise that Washington has made for decades to the American people. I got here as a 29-year-old kid. We were promising to make sure that Medicare would have the power to negotiate lower drug prices back then. Prescription drug prices. But guess what? We're giving Medicare the power to negotiate those prices now on some drugs. This means seniors are going to pay less for the prescription drugs, while we're changing circumstances for people with Medicare by putting a cap of a maximum of $2,000 a year on the prescription drug costs, no matter what the reason for those prescriptions are. That means if you're on Medicare, you'll never have to pay more than $2,000 a year, no matter how many prescriptions you have, whether it's for cancer or any other disease. No more than $2,000 a year. And you all know it because a lot of you come from families that need this. This is a godsend. This is a godsend to many families, and so long overdue. The Inflation Reduction Act locks in place lower health care premiums for millions of families who get their coverage under the Affordable Care Act. Last year, a family of four saved on average $2,400 through the American Rescue Plan that I signed into law that Congress voted in place. In the years ahead, thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act, 13 million people are going to continue to save an average of $800 a year on health insurance. The Inflation Reduction Act invests $369 billion to take the most aggressive action ever in confronting the climate crisis and strengthening our energy security. It's going to offer working families thousands of dollars in savings by providing them rebates to buy new and efficient appliances, weatherize their homes, get tax credit for purchasing heat pumps and rooftop solar, electric stoves, ovens, dryers. It gives consumers a tax credit to buy electric vehicles or fuel cell vehicles, new or used. And it gives them a tax credit of up to $7,500 if those vehicles were made in America. American auto companies, along with American labor, are committing their treasure and their talent, billions of dollars in investment to make electric vehicles and battery and electric charging stations all across America. Made in America. All of it made in America. This new law also provides tax credits that's going to create tens of thousands of good paying jobs, and clean energy manufacturing jobs, solar factories in the Midwest and the South, wind farms across the plains and off our shores, clean hydrogen projects, and more all across America, every part of America. This bill is the biggest step forward on climate ever. And it's going to allow us to boldly take additional steps toward meeting all of my climate goals, the ones we set out when we ran. It includes ensuring that we create clean energy opportunities in frontline and fence line communities that have been smothered by the legacy pollution, and fight environmental injustice that's been going on for so long. And here's another win for the American people. In addition to cutting the deficit by $350 billion last year, my first year in office, and cutting it $1.7 trillion this fiscal year, we're going to cut the deficit, point out, by another $300 billion with the Inflation Reduction Act over the next decade. We're cutting deficits to fight inflation by having the wealthy and big corporations finally begin to pay part of their fair share. Big corporations will now pay a minimum of 15% tax instead of us 55 of them got away with paying $0 in federal income tax on $40 billion in profit. And I'm keeping my campaign commitment. No one, let me emphasize, no one earning less than $400,000 a year will pay a penny more in federal taxes. Folks, The Inflation Reduction Act does so many things that for so many years, so many of us have fought to make happen. And let's be clear. In this historic moment, Democrats sided with the American people, and every single Republican in the Congress sided with the special interests in this vote. Every single one. In fact, the big drug companies spent nearly $100 million to defeat this bill. $100 million. And remember, every single Republican in Congress voted against this bill. Every single Republican in Congress voted against lowering prescription drug prices, against lowering health care costs, against the fair tax system. Every single Republican, every single one, voted against tackling the climate crisis, against lowering our energy costs, against creating good paying jobs. My fellow Americans, that's the choice we face. We can protect the already powerful or show the courage to build a future where everybody has an even shot. That's the America I believe in. That's what I believe in. And today, we've come a step closer to making that America real. Today, too often, we confuse noise with substance. Too often, we confuse setbacks with defeat. Too often, we hand the biggest microphones to the critics and the cynics who delight in declaring failure, while those committed to making real progress do the hard work of governing. Making progress in this country is as big and complicated as ours clearly is not easy. It's never been easy. But with unwavering conviction, commitment, and patience, progress does come. Your dad was right. And when it does, like today, people's lives are made better, and the future becomes brighter, and a nation can be transformed. That's what's happening now. From the American Rescue Plan that helped create nearly 10 million new jobs, to once-in-a-generation infrastructure law that will rebuild America's roads, bridges, ports, deliver clean water, high-speed internet to every American, to the first meaningful gun safety law in 30 years. And if I may do, we're still going to have an assault weapons ban, but that's another story. And to get significant veterans health care law in decades for the first time, to a groundbreaking chips and science law that's going to ensure that technologies and jobs in the future are made here in America. In America. And all this progress is part of our vision and plan and determined effort to get the job done for the American people, so they can look their child in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to make it sure that the democracy delivers for your generation. Because I think that's at stake. And now, I know there are those here today who hold a dark and despairing view of this country. I'm not one of them. I believe in the promise of America. I believe in the future of this country. I believe in the very soul of this nation. And most of all, I believe in you, the American people. I believe to my core, there isn't a single thing this country cannot do when we put our mind to it. Just to remember who we are. We are the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity. That's why so many foreign companies decide to invest make chips in America. Billions of dollars. We're the best. We have to believe in ourselves again. And now I'm going to take action that I've been looking forward to doing for 18 months. It's time to take the reduction.
We're watching the president sign this bill. He talking big stuff.
Okay. Here you go. It's now law.
Democrats have a win here. The president signing this bill. And as I said, this has been a long time coming, right? This has been a long time coming. And, you're going to have folks that are going to say what they say about the way that he delivers his speeches, the way he reads the teleprompter, you know what I mean? And he has never been the best speaker. He's never been the showman. He's never been that. He's never had the cool, calm smoothness of a President Obama. But he is who he is. So this measure, a lot of folks may be wondering, how is this going to be paid for? This measure is paid for by new taxes on large companies. New taxes on large companies, they don't like that. You heard the president speaking about how much money the large corporations who don't pay any taxes, they were willing to pay millions of dollars to try to prevent from paying taxes on the billions. But it appears this measure will be paid for by new taxes on large companies. These large companies being forced to pay their fair share. So keep in mind, you and I, we pay taxes. But a lot of these large corporations don't pay any taxes. And they make excuses as to why that is. And clearly the Republicans in the pockets of big business. So the measure being paid for by new taxes on large companies and stepped up IRS enforcement on wealthy individuals, entities with additional funds going to reduce the federal deficit. So the deficit is going to continue to rise, and over 10 years, according to the president, this is going to help reduce things. But it's going to come up on the other end. Like we put our finger on the hole over here, and water's going to be shooting out the other side. It's going to be something else to raise it. But this, for the most part, symbolic, trying to give the Democrats something to hang their hats on as we go to the general election in the fall. So there was the signing at the White House, Biden pointing to the law as proof that democracy, no matter how long or how messy the process, can still deliver votes in America. As he road tested a line that I'm sure he's going to repeat over and over again. The American people won, and the special interests lost. I sure hope that that's true. I sure hope that that is true. Big statement. We will see how this goes. But so far, this has been a very, the last week, 2 weeks for Democrats. They building up some momentum, getting some steam, getting some wind behind the sails. We'll be back with more of the Diamond K Show. I mean, this is for the last, I don't know how long we've been talking about how much Biden has been screwing up. And even though this does not go into effect for some time, this is a win for the Democrats. Stay tuned to the Diamond K Show here at OnFireTV.com.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like,
OnFireTV.com.
And we are back. Welcome back. You may Diamond K in here, of course, at the Diamond K Show, OnFire-TV.com. So today's broadcast brought to you in part by City View Bar and Grill. City View is a family-friendly casual dining bar and restaurant providing high-quality food and good old-fashioned friendly service. At the City View Bar and Grill, you can live every hour like it's happy hour. The food is mouth-watering. The atmosphere is fun, energetic, and mature. Located at 6700 Security Boulevard in Gwen Oak, Maryland. It's the City View Bar and Grill. Stop in today or visit cityviewmd.com. So we're talking about the president's signing of this massive climate and healthcare legislation. And obviously, it does not go into effect for some time. But, it's still a triumphant signing event for Biden, for the Democrats. The signing caps a spurt of productivity for President Biden and the Congress, who in 3 months have approved legislation on veterans benefits, on the semiconductor industry, gun checks for young buyers. The president and lawmakers have also responded to Russia's invasion of Ukraine and overwhelmingly supported NATO membership for Finland and Sweden. Let's keep in mind, let's not over celebrate for Biden. His approval ratings are still in the toilet. Folks still don't bang with him like that. Democrats are hoping that this string of successes will jumpstart their chances to maintain control in D.C. come the November midterms. I don't know how this works with this 79-year-old president who will be well into his 80s. 2024. I don't know. Well, maybe not well into his 80s. Well, he'll be in his 80s. All right, well into his 80s. Maybe I'm going a little far. Re-election, is that coming? He's still thinking about it. It can't be something that he's completely sure about. Every speech, I'm looking like, okay, is he going to make it through this speech? I don't know. Now, he's limped his way through to signing this bill. I think, and I'm going to use a pro wrestling reference here. My favorite wrestler all times, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Nature Boy Ric Flair just had a match. He's in his 70s as well. Just had a match, right? I don't know why he had a match. It's a couple weeks ago. Definitely time for him to hang it up. He had a send-off match with Shawn Michaels years ago in the WWE. But the ring kept calling him, so he's back he had another match. Horrible. Look terrible. And this is how Joe Biden looks right now. They're close to the same age. And just like I don't want to see Ric Flair wrestling anymore, I don't want to see Joe Biden as the president anymore. He got us through the turbulent time after Donald Trump. Trump needs to go. Joe Biden needs to go. And we need to let the next generation come through. We need to. If we keep pushing this, y'all keep pushing Joe Biden out there, one of these days he may just fall over at that podium. You know how disastrous that's going to look? I'm going to take Democrats back a little bit time, right? The notorious RBG, she should have retired, right? But because they kept propping her up, she ends up passing away in her robe in office. And then Biden got that seat. Trump got that seat. Had she stepped down when Obama was in and they got a younger, judge up there, things would have looked a little bit better. No. Democrats want to push things too far. It is time for Joe Biden to call it a career, get his retirement on while he still has some years left, spend it with his family, spend it with his grandkids. But it's time to wrap this thing up, B. It is time to wrap this thing up. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show. Do you agree with me? Is it time for Joe Biden to retire? Like, okay, you did something. It's good. It's going to be all downhill from here, Joe. Right? He's getting ready to hit 80. He's going to be 80 years old this year. 80. And I've said it many times. In your own family, would you let the 80-year-old plan the family reunion? No. You would let that job be somebody that's a little bit younger. Let the 80-year-old, let the some of our legacy folks sit back and enjoy the family reunion as opposed to trying to plan it. So if we wouldn't let an 80-year-old in our family plan the family reunion, how are we going to have this 80-year-old running the country? I mean, he's a nice guy and everything, but yo, Joe, it's over, B. It's over. It's time for him to it's time for him to hang it up. We'll be back right after this.
On Fire TV is a streaming network for a generation on the move.
Welcome back to John McKay Show here at onfire-tv.com, radioonfire.com, thediamondkshow.com, also WRF Radio. A judge has rejected the plea agreement in the submarine secrets sale case. Now, a Navy nuclear engineer and his wife withdrew their guilty pleas today in a case involving an alleged plot to sell secrets about American nuclear-powered warships after a federal judge rejected the plea agreement that had called for specific sentencing guidelines. So this couple, Jonathan and Diana Toby of Annapolis, pleaded guilty back in February in federal court in Martinsburg, West Virginia, to one count each of conspiracy to communicate restricted data. Ooh, does this sound familiar? Like something we might have to deal with somebody else? The sentencing range agreed to by the attorneys for Jonathan had called for a potential punishment of roughly 12 years to 17 years in prison. Prosecutors said today that such a sentence would be one of the most significant imposed in modern times under the Atomic Energy Act of 1954. Prosecutors also sought 3 years for his wife. The district judge said that while she generally honors plea agreements, in this case, she said that sentencing options were strikingly deficient. Oh, she wants more time for these Bamas. So she said, considering the seriousness of these charges, I do not find any justifiable reason for accepting either one of these plea agreements. She was like, you getting more time. You're getting more time. So prosecutors said that Jonathan Toby abused his access to top secret government information and repeatedly sold details about the design elements and performance characteristics of Virginia-class submarines to someone he believed was a representative of a foreign government, but was actually an undercover FBI agent. His wife, who was teaching at a private school in Maryland at the time of the couple's arrest last fall, was accused of acting as a lookout at several prearranged dead drop locations at which memory cards containing secret information were left behind, just like in a movie or something. These people were idiots and disloyal, espionage. I mean, they did all kind of stuff, right? I wonder who they voted for. Presidential election. The FBI has said that the scheme began back in April 2020 when Jonathan sent a package of Navy documents to a foreign government and wrote that he was interested in selling it to the country's operations manuals, performance reports, and other sensitive information. He included in the package, which had a Pittsburgh return address, instructions to how he's supposed to be contacted, how to establish a covert relationship with him, et cetera, et cetera. This idiot, the package was obtained by the FBI in December. And so it's some, legal attaché office, some unspecified foreign country that set off a undercover operation in which an agent posing as a representative of a foreign country made contact with this idiot, Jonathan. So they made contact with him, ultimately paying him $100,000 in crypto in exchange for information that this trader was offering. Now, Jonathan, the trader, who held a top secret security clearance through the Defense Department, had agreed as part of the plea deal to help federal officials with locating and retrieving all classified information in his possession, as well as the cryptocurrency that was paid to him. The country to which he was looking to sell the information has not been identified in the court documents and was not disclosed in court. I wonder who that was. FBI agents searched the couple's home and found a trash bag of shredded documents, thousands of dollars in cash, valid children's passports, and a go bag containing a USB flash drive, latex gloves. Oh, these Bamas watch way too much TV. They watch way too much TV. So the wife, back in December during a hearing, denied the prosecution's assertion that cited a 2019 message exchanged by the couple in which she had contemplated fleeing the country to avoid arrest. Instead, the defense said that it was, contempt for then President Donald Trump as the reason behind the company's immigration plans. So if she had contempt for Donald Trump, does that mean that she voted for Biden? Does that mean that these are Biden voters? Oh my God. Who knows? I don't know, but the plea agreement has been rejected. The judge is going to give them more time than they thought they were going to get. And, this is what they deserve. It's not like anybody should go lenient on some people that are trying to sell secrets to a foreign country. Let this be a lesson to you all you Trump supporters. I don't know who these people voted for, but you Trump supporters out there making excuses for the mishandling of sensitive information by the former president. Y'all need to get your minds right.
On Fire TV is a streaming network for a generation on the move.
Welcome back. You man, Dominic K in here, of course, the DominiCShow.com, onfire-tv.com, radioonfire.com, WRF Radio, the app. So Liz Cheney is bracing for loss as Trump is going to be tested. The grip that he has on his Republican minions going to be tested in Wyoming and Alaska today. The elections are underway right now. Wyoming Representative Liz Cheney, a leader in the Republican resistance to former President Donald Trump, is fighting to save her seat in the U.S. House. But it is, pretty much understood that she's going to lose. Voters are going to weigh in the direction of the GOP. What does this mean? This is just Republicans voting. So maybe they're going to prop up one of the Trump, cronies to take her place. I think that she has other plans. I think she knows the probability is high that she's going to lose this seat. But she has made it her, life's work to try to make sure that Donald Trump does not get back in the White House. So does that mean she's going to start a PAC after this loss today? Does that mean she's going to run for president? Does that mean she's backing some other member of the Republican resistance to the former president? I don't know. It's probably going to be one or several of those. But she is bracing for a loss against a Trump-backed challenger in the state in which he won by the largest of margins during the 2020 campaign. This really means nothing, right? Maybe she should run for president. I like to see the Republican Party splintered like this. Look, I'm happy that the Republicans are infighting. I am. I'm not even going to lie. But win or lose, the 56-year-old daughter of the former Vice President Dick Cheney, y'all remember him? She's vowing to remain an active presence in national politics as she contemplates a 2024 presidential bid. You know what I think would be slick? A unity ticket. So let's say that you have a Democrat. I don't know who this Democrat is, right? We need strong Democrat. And you pair them up with Liz Cheney, and you have a unity ticket to run. That means a Democrat and a Republican together. Oh, yeah. Why would they do something crazy like that? That's what they need to do. A unity ticket. Pair Liz Cheney up with some Democrat. I mean, we can go, we can do something. We can figure this out. Figure out who. I think that would be a great idea. A unity ticket. Bring the country together. A Democrat and a Republican. So Liz Cheney is my Republican pick, and then we get a Democrat together. Unify the country. Unify the country. Win, lose, or draw, as I said, she's going to do something. In the short term, Cheney is facing this threat from a Republican opponent, Harriet Hageman. And so, she's a attorney who really has harnessed the full fury of the Trump movement in Wyoming. How many black people are in Wyoming, do you think? Many of Wyoming's voters don't seem to agree with Liz Cheney. Right? It's like another world out there. Right? I'm sure it's very rural. Jackson, Wyoming, and a lot of those folks feel betrayed by Liz Cheney. So maybe it's a lot of farmland, it's a lot of woods. Maybe news travels slow around there. But Donald Trump has been lying to you folks, good folks in Wyoming. I understand that over 70% of the state voted Republican in the last presidential election. Okay. I get it. You can still be a Republican, but Trump has been lying to you folks. So whether you understand it now, or whether you understand it later, it's going to come out. So you can vote Liz Cheney out of there, and you can bring in Harriet, and maybe she wins in November, right? Whatever. Donald Trump is a cancer to the Republican Party, and he is a cancer to this country. He also just needs to go to Mar-a-Lago, do the things that retired former presidents do, and stay out of national politics. That would be great. I don't see it happening, but that would be great. Now, in Alaska, a recent change to state election laws gives, a periodic Trump critic, U.S. Senator Lisa Murkowski, the opportunity to survive Donald Trump's wrath, right? So she voted to convict him, if you remember, in his second impeachment trial. So she has some sense. She has some courage. But she is the only Senate Republican running for re-election this year who backed Trump's impeachment. And why in Alaska does she have a shot? Well, the top 4 primary Senate candidates in Alaska, regardless of party, will advance to the November general election, where voters will rank them in order of preference. This is called ranked choice voting. In all, there are 7 Republican senators and 10 Republican House members who joined every Democrat in supporting Trump's impeachment. So you remember the days after these Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol when Congress was trying to certify Joe Biden's victory. Murkowski of Alaska is facing 18 opponents. The most prominent one is Republican Kelly, who is endorsed by Trump. In her push to preserve a seat she has held for nearly 20 years. On the other side, of course, Sarah Palin, former governor and former vice presidential nominee, hopes to spark a comeback today. She's actually on the ballot twice, once in the special election to complete former Representative Don Young's term, and another for a full 2-year House term starting in January. So we're going to see how that happens. As of August 1st, in Wyoming, there were 285,000 registered voters in Wyoming, including 40,000 Democrats and 208,000 Republicans. So, we can kind of see how this is going to go. We can kind of see how this is going to go. So she's bracing herself for what is, more than likely going to be a loss. More than likely. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Can she come back from that? I don't know. I don't know about that. We will see. We talked about this story yesterday. The Baltimore police officer, well, he was found guilty of reckless endangerment today for this incident that happened back in 2020. Officer Christopher Nguyen was accused of not protecting a victim while responding to a call for an assault. The incident took place August the 12th of 2020. The Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office said that the officer failed to properly supervise, secure, or otherwise detain the suspect. Suspect is Kenneth Summers. And in doing so, created a substantial risk of death or serious physical injury to the victim, Wayne Brown, a physically incapacitated individual at the time. Prosecutors allege that Summers said to an unconscious Brown, "Hey, can you see yet? Can you see? I want you to look at me real quick so you can remember me," before kicking him in the head. Prosecutors said that the police officer did not intervene. He did not intervene. So the officer faces a maximum penalty of, ready for this? 5 years in prison and or a fine of $5,000. Sentencing is scheduled for October 27th. So, I mean, when it's all said and done, I don't know how is that right though? Like, is that justice? Literally, this officer did not do his job. They called the police, and the officer on the scene lets an assault continue. Does nothing. Does nothing about it. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that the family is not happy with this. I'm sure. But it is what it is. What else can be done? You know what I mean? What else are they going to do? The First Lady has tested positive for COVID-19. Jill Biden, they said that she just has mild symptoms, nothing to be alarmed about if you were worried about it. You know what I mean? It's COVID-19. And I said this, I don't know, maybe a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago. I said that everybody's going to get it at some point in time. Everybody's going to have had it, or have it. You know what I mean? I don't see how it can be avoided. But hopefully she will get well soon. The Maryland Democratic Party announced yesterday that Joe Biden and the First Lady will make an appearance in Maryland next week. The exact location and time have not been confirmed. The party said that those details would be announced in the upcoming days. As a grassroots event slated to take place on Thursday, August the 25th. So you can visit events.democrats.org. Find out more information about the Maryland grassroots event with President Joe Biden and Dr. Jill Biden. As I said, August the 25th in Maryland. And they're going to make the announcement about when and where, if you want to come out and check out the president. Some of y'all want to do that. Some of y'all want to come and see the president. Let's do this. Take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the Diamond K Show after this.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like,
OnFireTV.com.
Welcome back. You man Diamond K in here, of course. The DiamondKShow.com, OnFire-TV.com, RadioOnFire.com, the WRF radio app. So glad to be here. And, we have gotten through a gang of topics. However, we still have some more to go. Monkeypox can spread to pet dogs, according to a doctor's report. Health officials are warning people who are infected with monkeypox to stay away from their household pets, since the animal could be at risk of catching the virus. The CDC, for months, has had the advice in place as monkeypox spreads in this country. It has gained new attention after a report from France published last week in a medical journal, which talked about an Italian greyhound that caught monkeypox. The dog belongs to a couple who said that they sleep alongside the animal. The dog sleeps in the bed with them. The two men were infected with monkeypox after having sex with other partners and wound up with lesions and other symptoms. The greyhound later developed lesions and was also diagnosed with the virus. This same-sex couple is from France, and monkeypox infections have been detected in rodents and other wild animals, which can spread the virus to humans also. So the authors called it the first report of monkeypox infection in a domesticated animal like a dog or a cat. Pets that come in close contact with a symptomatic person should be kept at home and away from other animals and people for 21 days after the most recent contact, according to the CDC. What is going on? What is going on? A lot of folks talking about monkeypox and how just scary the whole thing is. Now, you can also give it to your dog, cat. Wow. I mean, this is things are really getting crazy. So if you weren't already nervous enough about monkeypox, there you have it. You can pass it on to your pet. Also in the news, a family of a man shot by officers during a mental health call is suing the police department. Now, you may say they're suing the police department. Where? Well, this happened in Anne Arundel County. The family of a 20-year-old who was killed by police in January. They are suing the police department. So DJ, as he was called by the family, was shot in his home January the 30th. His mother said that she remains haunted naturally by the night. She called the police for help with her son. Her son was suffering from a mental health issue. They had a news conference yesterday, and obviously she said that if she knew that her son would end up dead, she would have never called the police. My son was going through something, and 3 officers responded. I was asking for help, and my son was murdered, she said. Sad. I mean, this is a sad story here. She and her family have filed a federal civil lawsuit saying that police use unconstitutional deadly force. This is a tragic situation here. Tragic. The lawsuit claims that police were called to the home January 2 times for a well-being check on DJ. The first time, the family claimed that the police said there was nothing they could do. The second time, the family claimed 3 officers arrived with guns drawn, pointing their guns at DJ. They tried to arrest him, but he was ultimately shot. You know, they said like it just happened. I don't know, our fingers in the trigger. I don't know what happened. He just, they said it so matter of factly, but that's what happened. So it appears that, like many times, the officers were not properly trained, did not know how to react in a manner that was constitutional, reasonable, and they were excessive. Police claim that when the officers tried to arrest DJ, he bit one of them. This can be seen on the body camera video. So you just shoot him down? My first job was at McDonald's. Before they allowed me to get on the floor, making the Big Macs and the McDLT. Remember the McDLT? We had training. They trained us. I had to pass some tests before I could, go on the floor and make the Big Mac. I was trained for a while. Videos, tests, sample tests. They took us on the floor. I'm saying that there was training involved. How well are these officers being trained? Are folks being trained more at Chick-fil-A than at McDonald's, than the police department? I don't know, but I'm just saying, every time they screw up, they talk about training. If you're going to buy some food from somewhere and the food's not good, is it a good excuse for them to say, oh, well, the cook was not properly trained? No, you ain't going to accept that. But every time the police kill somebody, they say, oh, we need to train them more. I don't know. So attorneys are trying to get information from the Maryland Attorney General's office to determine exactly what happened. They're not having luck. Anne Arundel County Police Department declined to comment on the case, and it's a civil matter. So we're going to keep posted on this. Keep our eyes on this. It's a sad situation, and I don't like it one bit. Of course, any loss of life is tragic. Any loss of life, tragic. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We got two or three more stories to get into, and then we will be back. You listen to the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com. Welcome back. You and Diamond K in here. Of course, the Diamond K Show. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. Facial recognition technology is under questioning by Baltimore City officials. The city council wants to hear more about this facial recognition technology by both private companies and law enforcement before passing any more legislation. City Councilman Christopher Burnett told WBAL that the practice has been banned because it misidentifies African Americans. The city council's ban on this technology expires in December, and some argue that the technology can help identify people in crimes. So, is this, on Facebook, they were using some kind of facial recognition technology, and I'm sure that it can probably misidentify not just African Americans but others as well. So we're going to see about that. I don't know. I just need to see more before I really make a determination on this facial recognition. If that's going to get somebody locked up, though, that might be a little bit too much. Last story before we get out of here. 5,760 cases of Capri Sun have been recalled after being contaminated with a, wait for it, cleaning solution. 5,760 cases of Capri Sun wild cherry beverages have possibly been contaminated. Kraft Heinz, the company here, said in a statement that a cleaning solution used to treat food processing equipment was inadvertently introduced into a production line at one of our facilities. The issue was discovered after it received several consumer complaints about the product's taste. The company did not disclose how many total pouches have been recalled. However, each case has 4 cartons that have 10 pouches, each totaling about 230,000 individual pouches possibly being affected. Wow. So if you, this is something that relates to you, here's how you know if your Capri Sun has been recalled. Look for a best when used by date, and the best when used by date of June 25th, 2023 on each of the 6.6 ounce pouches. Say that again. You're looking for the best when used by date, and you're looking for the date of June 25th, 2023. You know what's crazy about that? That's almost a year from now. The juices are good that long? Something about that ain't right. Okay, it should be good that long. How much preservatives are in there? Kraft Heinz said that it is actively working with retailers to remove the potentially impacted product from circulation. Oh, this is scary. How many of your kids are drinking Capri Sun? I know when I was a kid, Capri Sun was like, that was like bougie stuff. But we liked it though, but it was kind of bougie. We didn't have money for that. We used to use those Huggy juices, but whatever. Customers that have the product can return them to the store. Kraft said that people should not obviously drink them. Earlier this week, about 13,000 pounds of frozen pizza made by Home Run Inn Frozen Foods was recalled because of a potential metal contamination. The pizza's meat topping may be contaminated with materials, specifically metal. The U.S. Department of Agriculture and Food Safety and Inspection Service said in a statement on Sunday. Wow, this is scary stuff. Cleaning solution, metal in your pizza. What is going on? What is going on? Of course, I will be back here tomorrow 6 p.m. for the Diamond K Show. If you need to get in touch with me, djdiamondk@gmail.com. The best way to do that, of course, on all social media, I am at the Diamond K Show. At the Diamond K Show. Of course, here on the show, we deliver the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with interviews and original reporting from across this country. Show is fun, show is upbeat, but I have to expose what's really going on. I'm going to give you politics and the news from an independent perspective. If a Republican is wrong, I'm going to call that out. If a Democrat's wrong, I'm going to call that out too. Join me here weekdays live 6 p.m. for the Diamond K Show. Also visit onfire-tv.com. The Diamond K Show is an OnFire-TV production. You can get the show on demand at the WRF Radio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, of course, youtube.com/DJ Diamond K. I'm able to deliver our take on the news because of our listeners and our sponsors. It is so important to have true independent voices dissecting what is happening in the world. So help keep this show and our many other programs on the air on fire-tv.com/support. You want to help power this machine before we get out of here. Today's broadcast brought to you in part by City View Bar and Grill. City View is a family-friendly casual dining bar and restaurant providing high-quality food and good old-fashioned friendly service. At City View Bar and Grill, you can live every hour like it's happy hour. The food is mouth-watering. The atmosphere is fun and energetic, but it is also mature. Located at 6700 Security Boulevard in Gwen Oak, Maryland, it's the City View Bar and Grill. Stop in today or visit cityviewmd.com. All right, I'm going to be back here tomorrow, and I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot to get into. I will see you guys. Thanks for listening.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like,
OnFireTV.com.